Guns all over the place, slipping down Jack Downs as fast as we could. That's when I heard the most horrible sound I ever heard in my life. And I knew, we gotta do the ice!
Whoa, I'm back! It was a tough week. I was fired from my own show, went on a binge of crack, fentanyl, and shoe shopping, but then was hired back, but only after the following conditions were met. I had to apologize and agree to never, ever go shoe shopping again. Welcome to our series entitled 90s Chronologically Rocked. I'm your host, theGrungeGuy. The way this series works is, every week will feature a new album, that of which was released roughly 30 years prior. So, for example, an episode released in January of 2021 will feature an album that was originally released in January of 1991. We want to expose as many people as possible to the radness of 90s music. To do that, we'll have our loyal test subject, A-Bomb, react to the most noteworthy albums of each month. So get ready to battle Skynet, because we're traveling back to February of 1991. Let's go! The album we'll be covering today is 8-Way Santa by Tad, which was released February 15th of 1991. Finally, another grunge band. If you like grunge as much as I do, please go out and buy some shoes. Sorry. I'll keep it together, don't worry. Tad are fronted by vocalist and guitarist Tad Doyle and are considered to be one of the first Seattle grunge bands. The band were involved in a lawsuit because of this album's original cover, which featured an altered version of a photo they found in a thrift shop. The people depicted in the photo were not happy with its usage, especially since they were no longer in a relationship together. So the band changed it to a standard image of themselves standing by some cows. What is it with grunge bands and their cows, am I right? Alright, let's get to the music. It already sounds really gritty. I don't like that sudden speed up. I don't like when bands do that. I liked everything about that song aside from when it speeds up for the chorus. I'm not a fan of that in most songs when it's just a sudden speed up with no rationale, at least in my opinion. But aside from that, it was really good. And it was a lot more sludgy than I was expecting it to be. Like kind of, I mean, it is grungy too. But it's a bit more raw than most of the grunge bands that, at least the ones that became popular. That's about it. I like it so far. This is heavy. A bit psychedelic. I can hear a bit of stoner rock in there, early stoner rock like Caius, and a bit of White Zombie actually, just with the rhythm, the pacing. that riff, the dun, 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 it sounds like a very groovy riff that Rob Zombie would have done early on in his career. And yeah, I feel like this could fit really well on a Twisted Metal soundtrack, which is that's a good metric to go by if I'm going to like something or not. Just that kind of, it sounds like it's like a rowdy good time, like heavy but kind of rowdy, like a ruckus is going on. But yeah, so far I really like it. That one a little bit better than the first one. Yeah, the production's really good on this album as well.
No one knows.
I like that drum. You hear a bit of Alice in Chains. Actually, a little bit of their self-titled, which came out 4 years after this. I love that. I forgot to mention last time that there is just a dash of noise rock in here. You can hear the kind of discordant like guitar like that they're doing, like the, I don't know, just very, very off kilter, dissonant lines. And yeah, drumming's great. Noticed a bit of Alice in Chains in there. Actually from their self-titled album, which came out 5 years after this, interestingly. Yeah, this is just right up my alley. Like the songs are thankfully very short and they're just flying by. And yeah, just good stuff. Ooh. It's so groovy. Oh, this is very grunge-like. This is some fun I'll have all day. Was he saying some fun I'll have all day in the chorus? If he is, and that's hilarious. This band has a sense of humor, which I like, which is a good contrast from the majority of grunge bands who are pretty serious. The songs are relatively catchy. They're just accessible enough to be inviting on the first listen, but they have enough rawness and authenticity to keep them cool as a grunge band. So I feel like I don't know why this band didn't have more crossover appeal. Like they're I guess because they don't really have like distinctive image. They're just a bunch of dudes. Like on the redone cover of this album, it's just 4 dudes by some cows. I think he mentioned something about a cow in this song, either this song or the last song. But yeah, these songs are really solid, like really good. I think that was my favorite so far. Gonna put that on the list. Sounds a lot like the Foo Fighters, proto Foo Fighters. A drunken ninja. I started off not being that into that one at first, but the chorus is probably the catchiest on the album so far. And was he saying, yeah, she's a drunken ninja, something like that? That was pretty funny too, but it's catchy regardless. And the drum solo at the end, man, that was great. Yeah, these songs just fly by, like it's like butter, just butter. Oh, it's very Caius. Interesting vocals.
It's about time we went for a ride. Trans in my head. Trans get me out of here. Where does my garbage go when it is dead?
While I was listening to that, just for reference, I looked up the release dates for the first albums from White Zombie and Caius, because I want to just compare like who was doing what at what time. Because this album, like, it seems slightly ahead of its time. White Zombie's first album came out like 80, I think it said 87. Yeah. And then Caius was 91 in September. So like this song and a few others really reminded me of Caius. That speed and intensity, which most grunge bands aren't this fast. Like this, I wouldn't even really call this punk. It's more like it sounds like desert rock. Like kind of driving fast through an area, like an open area. Just like carefree. It's like very driving. It's like do 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 do. Not like punk, like do 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 do. Like it's not like punk or death metal or thrash or anything like that. It's just driving. And I don't know who else did this before. Like I think like. I mean, even White Zombie's stuff isn't this fast paced. It just kind of has that grooviness and kind of, I don't know, gruffness and the singing and everything. But it doesn't have this, maybe they did in their earlier albums. But yeah, I'd like to find out if this was the first band to kind of do this style, which is interesting. Because it does sound like grunge, but I think it sounds more like stoner rock, desert rock, whatever White Zombie was. I guess they're originally noise rock and groove metal, industrial metal, yeah, and alternative metal. Yeah, like it sounds a bit like alternative metal, groove metal, and desert rock to me, more than grunge. Interesting. Great grooves across the board. Sounds kind of like maybe like Soundgarden, something like that. Is he growling? Sounds like a DMX song. Roar. When the dogs out. Roar. I love that.
One night, me and my friend Jack Hill from Nampa, Idaho, decided we're gonna take his dad's brand new 4x4 pickup out for a ride on Lake Lowell. Well, we've been in a belly full of Jack Daniels and some Pepsi too, and we decided we're out for a ride. Well, we got out on that, started spinning around, doing 360s, 180s all over the place, slipping down Jack Downs as fast as we could. That's when I heard the most horrible sound I ever heard in my life, and I knew we're gonna do the ice.
Sounded metal as fuck.
Help me, Jack Pepsi. 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 Help me, Jack Pepsi.
That's great.
Jack Pepsi. Help me, Jack Pepsi.
Help me, Jack Pepsi. Help me, Jack Pepsi. I don't even believe in Jack Pepsi. Save me, Jack Pepsi.
Well, we broke through the ice, sunk down to the bottom. The water starts rushing in through the doors and the windows, and I start freaking out. Jack says, "Hey man, if you're gonna make it through this alive, you're gonna have to settle down, breathe the air off the roof." While the water rushed in. Help me, Jack Pepsi. 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 Jack Pepsi.
That was hilarious. That was great. Good sense of humor. It's also reminding me of Primus now, with a couple songs. I know I keep throwing out all these bands that it reminds me of. That's what I do. Yeah, with the storytelling and just kind of like talk singing and just silly humor. This is the longest song. Oh, doomy as fuck. Kind of reminds me of Melvin's. Love the groove in that, of course. I love the doom. Reminded me a lot of the Melvins. was the first serious or more serious song on this album, and the longest song. It may have even overstayed its welcome a tiny bit, but I just love that groove so much. And yeah, there wasn't anything I really disliked during the song. So yeah, that one's another great one. Okay, weirdly enough, this reminds me of Dinosaur Jr. Alive. Sounds like a Maskus line. How do they do it? Every song sounds different. Like they each sound like not only kind of a different genre, but like I can hear specific bands within each of these songs, but some of these bands didn't even release material like the material it reminds me of until after this was released. So I don't know if this influenced other bands. This particular song reminded me like somewhat of Dinosaur Jr. with how he was singing, the like just, I don't know, his skronky voice, like that kind of like whiny kind of voice. I don't know how to describe it, that Jay Maskus does. And then the chord progressions, like that kind of indie, I don't know, yeah, that late 80s, early 90s indie rock sound, like noise rock, indie rock kind of thing. Yeah, man, this is a great album. We only have 2 songs left, and I've liked every song so far. Even that like 39 second whatever interlude was kind of interesting. So desert rock. Okay, so it didn't really finish off with a bang. That was probably one of the least interesting tracks on the album, but it was still pretty good. There wasn't a dud on the entire album. It kept me interested throughout. It was short and sweet. Every song on the album was a bit different from the rest. So it had a lot of variety. Had a sense of humor, didn't take itself too seriously, but also wasn't like a comedy album. It was heavy, sometimes really heavy, but not like overly so. Like it still maintained melody, relatively traditional song structure, so it was accessible. It balanced between that line of accessibility and rawness and credibility very well. I think that was probably the best album that I've heard so far doing this. It was just great, but it was my cup of tea. It was my thing. And so it's not too hard to imagine why I liked it. And that'll make Grunge Guy very happy, I know, too.
Dude, that freaking rocked! The riffs were solid, the vocals were tough, and the humor made my tummy hurt. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Special thanks go out to our test subject A-Bomb, all the people who've been watching, liking, and commenting, and the customer service at Payless. Until next time, rock on! Grunge is alive.